When Ohio State and Illinois meet on Saturday, noon kickoff, it will be the first time since 2017. Shocking, I know. Some reason I felt like these teams have kind of gone at it over the past few years, but no, canceled game in 2020, and the Buckeyes met before that with Illinois in 2017. So we're excited for this matchup. We'll have our watch party, of course, on Saturday, so be sure to tune in to that one. I'm very intrigued by this matchup. It's possible. This isn't on my bold predictions. I'm just going to say this. It's possible. This is the best team Ohio State plays until Michigan. Maybe the best team overall until the playoff. I don't know. We're going to jump into it, and you can leave your thoughts after I give you the breakdown. What to watch for, keys to victory, score prediction coming at you in just a second. However, let's get to our checklist. When it's game day, when it's game week, you're buying game day foods, you're getting your jersey cleaned, you're inviting your friends over. There's things you do every single week to make sure you're feeling good about a Buckeyes game on Saturday. This is one of them you have to do also. Like the video if you want the Buckeyes to beat Illinois. Don't want to jinx it. We've done this every week. Let's take care of this. Let's get this on our game day checklist. Take care of business here and get the Buckeyes ready to go for Saturday. We begin our preview with injury news for Ohio State and Illinois. Again, Kenyatta Jackson just going through it with the injury bug. It's been on and off. He's still been playing, which I'll give him a lot of credit for. Tough guy. It ended up being a stinger. That's what NBC reported in the game against Minnesota. As you guys saw, Kenyatta Jackson did not come back into that game, just like the Texas game. Exited, tried to come back in, couldn't. Good news once again, Ryan Day saying he is hopeful Kenyatta Jackson plays on Saturday. Everything seemed good. Feel like he felt good about it. And again, he did this for Texas, and then Jackson played against Grambling. So you would think with a bigger matchup now against Illinois, if there's even a chance Jackson plays, you would probably get him out there. Now, his replacement, you guys saw Beau Atkinson get after Minnesota a little bit. I thought he got to the quarterback, didn't finish on a few plays. I like Beau Atkinson. I thought he would be a bigger starter for Ohio State, a bigger role on this defense. But I feel really good. Once again, you go to the transfer portal, you add an experienced defensive end, and it has provided Ohio State with depth. So even if Jackson doesn't go, I feel good about Beau Atkinson. I feel good about Zion Grady. I think the Buckeyes have options, but I do expect Kenyatta Jackson, from what Ryan Day said, to play on Saturday against Illinois. Now, for the Illini, their injury report. Big one. Xavier Scott, big piece of their secondary in that bottom right there. He's out. Not only for this game, but it's looking like for the season. For the second straight week, Ohio State will deal with an injured running back on the opposing team. You saw how that worked for Minnesota, right? Not good for the Illini to have an injured running back and a second injured member of their secondary. A couple of these guys missed last week. Big thing here is they're playing hurt. They got guys out there barely getting onto the field, key members of their defense, trying to get out there, trying to play, fight through it in what is probably the biggest game of the year for Illinois. We'll update you on Saturday fully on all these guys, making sure they're good to go or out or still questionable. We'll let you know. But the Illini have some real medical issues. And look, we talk about one guy for Ohio State, 6 guys for Illinois. That's what we're looking at here. So once again, I just feel so good about Ohio State's health this year. It's been tremendous. Very good luck. Knock on wood. Love to see that. What are you watching for? I'll tell you what I'm watching for here. Beginning with the first thing. Everybody talking Illinois over the past few weeks keep mentioning their beatdown. And they got beat down in Bloomington, Indiana, scorched Illinois. On the road, unprepared, embarrassed. It was a serious stain on Illinois. They were top 10 at the time. They were feeling good about themselves. I was feeling good about them. I was predicting Ohio State possibly to lose, and then they just get beat up by Indiana and company. Again, that was a road game, a night game, but they got beat up in that one. So, I think a lot of people have been considering this game, thinking about this game. The media asked Ryan Day if he watched this tape, if he judged Illinois on this game. Ryan Day gave this response here. Pitch the game. Throw it out. It's not who they are. Throw that film out. Don't even barely look at it. To me, that's not who we're playing. Whatever was in that game, that's an outlier. Brett Bielema is one of the better coaches in the country and has a resilient, and he's a resilient guy. That's a resilient team. We know we're going to get their best shot Saturday. And I will say, before we get to our next part here, Ohio State did this with Nebraska last year, right? Nebraska got wrecked before they came to Columbus off a bye week and gave the Buckeyes some trouble. So, a game like this, I believe Ryan Day where he says, kind of can't put too much stock in what happened. That's a week 4 game, right? So we're well past that. Illinois looked really, really good, not only beating USC, but beating up Purdue a week later. So I agree with Ryan Day where I'm not going to put too much stock in this game. Fernando Mendoza was great. Luke Altmyer was not. They could not run the ball. They could not move the ball. They'll be at home. I think that's another factor too. So not putting too much stock there. For Saturday, what are we thinking score-wise? Buckeyes have just looked good. Week after week after week. I've started to just move up the ranks with what I'm predicting on my scores. I want to get your score prediction for the Buckeyes and the Illini. This will be our pinned comment. Leave it comment down below. My next what to watch for. May not believe it. Both these teams are kind of in a similar scoring situation, kind of similar scoring pattern, especially the points per game. That's the biggest one for these two offenses, and we'll talk Luke Altmyer. We'll talk what the Buckeyes have, but if you look at what these two teams have done, and I will say Illinois has not had their bye yet. They're actually going to have their bye coming up. I believe it's after Ohio State. Then they play a game. Then they take their second bye. So kind of a weird schedule for the Illini. Taking a look here, 37 points per game for about both these teams, under 200 yards rushing. Throwing the ball is definitely the strength of both these teams. Buckeyes better on third down, but about even in the red zone for these two teams. So it's definitely worth looking at. Very, very interesting stuff for these two teams. I think it's notable that these guys have a similar offense. Difference is obviously the defense. However, just something to watch. Illinois mimicking Ohio State in a lot of ways on that defense. So it's definitely worth paying attention to, looking at, and looking forward to in this game. Sticking with the Illinois offense on my what to watch for list, a golden arm on Illinois' quarterback. Is that right? Yes, Luke Altmyer for Illinois. He was named the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award winner for last week. His performance against Purdue, pretty outstanding. He was good. He was very, very good against Purdue. I liked what I saw from him in that game. Just one touchdown. It was the 86% completion percentage that was really, really impressive for Luke Altmyer in that one. Definitely something the Buckeyes have to keep an eye on is how surgical he is. He gets in a rhythm. If he gets in a flow, if he cooks, bang, 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 down the field with confidence. That's going to be a huge thing for Luke Altmyer. We'll be paying attention to that. Golden Arm, that's a hell of an award to get, so the Buckeyes definitely have to pay attention. However, they played guys that we've given credit as good quarterbacks. We'll see what Altmyer does against the Buckeyes' #1 defense in the country. Next up, we got some really good receivers all over the field for Ohio State, for Illinois. I think it's going to be really fun to watch these guys go to work. Really impressive names, really impressive numbers, both on Ohio State and Illinois. Like I said, obviously, we showed you that comparison between Smith and Tate. Their numbers still very, very good. Hank Beatty for Illinois, and again, has an extra game on those guys, but I will say 569 yards. The receptions are there. Obviously, the go-to target for Altmyer. This is going to be a pass-heavy game, and, obviously, rooting for Ohio State, predicting them to win, all that stuff, but, I love good competition. I love good college football. So being able to watch a guy like Hank Beatty, I think will be interesting. I will note, I really hyped up Denzel Boston for Washington, and the Buckeyes just locked him up. Did not make him a factor in that game. So Beatty definitely someone to pay attention to. However, good chance the Buckeyes send those doubles, pay extra attention, and force the Illini to beat them with other receivers. I want to let you guys know this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. My favorite part about PrizePicks is that it's simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Also, let's talk stacks for a second. Stacks means you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So if you want to go more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, touchdowns, you can pick all of them in the same lineup on PrizePicks. Looking at another Buckeye set here, Jeremiah Smith, more rushing or receiving, half a touchdown. Julian Sand, he's cooking, folks. More on that touchdown and a half passing. And Luke Altmyer, you're facing the Buckeyes defense. You get the less on your passing yards. 210 and a half, going less there. Another part of PrizePicks I want to mention to you guys, you can copy lineups or projections. Play directly on the app and copy lineups from others with one click. Whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or someone you know, just hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on PrizePicks. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, our final what to watch for in this one involves Illinois. Straight up, no doubt. Think about this. Look at this. Watch this. Illinois has to win this game. This is a must-win game for Illinois. They already took that gruesome loss to Indiana, as we noted. Doesn't matter what I think about them now. That loss is on their record. They are looking at a Big Ten that is very competitive. They will feel that this is the game they absolutely have to win, because if they lose again, I fully believe they are out of the playoff picture and they have no chance. ESPN has a bubble watch right now for the college football playoff, looking at the Big Ten. Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon would be in. Michigan's on the cusp. Again, I think that's another one. Ohio State will make or break their season. Look at the Buckeyes just making everybody's year, breaking everybody's year. Work to do. Illinois, a couple other teams in that mix right now, but Illinois, obviously, you have work to do, then you take a loss, you're out. They have to win this game. The Illini must win this game. I would have said that if they hadn't lost to Indiana. Now they have lost to Indiana. The Buckeyes come into town with all the confidence in the world, all the rankings in the world, all the stats in the world, all the health in the world. This is I don't want to say David and Goliath, because Illinois obviously ranked in the top 25, but geez, they have a task ahead of them, and the meaning behind it is huge. They're going to have the juice, knowing that if they don't look good, at the least look good against Ohio State, if not must win against Ohio State, their season may be lost. Let's get to keys to victory. Enough with the Illini. We know what they got to do. We know what they can do. Buckeyes, this is what they have to do to make sure they take home the victory. I got Beau on there. I think Beau is going to be a big part of this game for Ohio State. Torch the defense. Torch them. Go to work on this Illinois defense. I think they can do it, and this is why. 83rd nationally in yards per attempt. Other teams are getting 7.3 yards per attempt right now on Illinois. That's passing or rushing. That's the average. 83rd nationally in yards per carry. So rushing, you're already getting 4 yards per carry essentially, plus Ohio State's O-line playing well, plus 3 good options at running back right now. And then overall yards per game, you give the Buckeyes 387 or more, you're done. You're done. The defense is too good. That's equivalent to 3 touchdowns, if not more, for Ohio State. Torch the defense. This is a mediocre defense. Treat them like it. Take care of business this Saturday against this Illinois defense. Yes, mediocre is correct. Mediocre, mid, average, below average, however you want to define Illinois' defense. Not good enough to hold the Buckeyes in check. What do you think? Who's going to score that first touchdown for the Buckeyes? I haven't seen many right answers. I just haven't. I've been reading your guys' comments, haven't seen a ton of right answers. Let's see if this is the week you guys get it right. Leave a prediction down in the comment section below. Who scores the first touchdown for Ohio State this Saturday? Second key to victory, avoid the turnovers. Not that this has been an issue for the Buckeyes, but this is something Illinois is going to look to do. When you have a bad defense, again, mediocre, mid, below average, whatever you want to say about the Illinois defense from the numbers I presented you, you have no choice but to put pressure on your defense to find turnovers. That's what makes the day in a game like this. Illinois needs that fumble, that interception, You can even go as far as say blocked punt. They need it. That's the only thing that a defense like this, a team that needs stops like this, has to hope for, and that's turnovers. Now, good thing for Ohio State, they've just been really good taking care of the ball. Julian Sand only has the interceptions, weird one against Grambling and then the few against Ohio, but just been so good over the past few weeks. And I will say if he does turn the ball over, he usually bounces back quickly from it. Beau Jackson, who I mentioned already, they put serious pressure on him not to fumble the ball, to take care of the ball especially. I don't really see that from him. And besides that, like I said, Ohio State's been clean. And if they have made one mistake or so, they've immediately bounced back and corrected it. So we'll watch the turnover battle there. Last key to victory, out-coach Brett Bielema. That's what Ryan Day has to do in this one. This is the first meeting between the two coaches. Again, kind of weird that Illinois and Ohio State haven't gone at it since that 2017 season. I just kind of thought they'd cross paths. And Bielema has some experience with Ohio State from his time at Wisconsin. He was 1-5 against the Buckeyes. However, that one, if you watched our video the other day on just rumors floating around Columbus, I have a weird fear of what happened to the Buckeyes in 2010. They were number 1 in the country. They went down to Camp Randall in Wisconsin. That was Bielema. That was Bielema. Again, if you watched the video yesterday, I talked about the worry I have about that game. Younger me leaving. I remember leaving a bonfire to go check in on the game and then getting locked in on the game and then the Buckeyes just losing that one. Maybe those two things aren't related. It's been almost 15 years. Maybe I'm in my head about it. But I think it's notable Brett Bielema has beaten Ohio State in that way, has a different coaching style and style of play, especially from Ryan Day, and these two coaches first time going at it. So Ryan Day has to be on his A game, make sure he doesn't get out coached by a guy that a lot of the Big Ten sees as like the dean of the Big Ten, right? The older brother or father figure of the Big Ten. Can't feel like you're getting little brothered or out coached in this one. My turn to predict the score between Ohio State and Illinois. Let me put it simply. Until a team proves that they can score 10 points on the Buckeye defense, you will see single digits in my score predictions. Maybe Illinois does it. I don't know. I kind of predicted it may come to an end here, but today I've decided if nobody proves it, I'm keeping it in single digits. And odds are, if it's in single digits, that means the Buckeyes are playing well on offense. Like I said, they should scorch the defense for Illinois. 49-7. See you Saturday.